where your real life begins. Well, I'm here with Monica Abear, and today we're talking about how to stop filling the silence and start trusting it. Monica, let's get into this. The void in retirement. Tell us about it.
I have a question for you.
Fire away.
How many months pregnant is your void?
Oh my goodness. You've hit me with one there, Monica.
It's a showstopper, right? Well, let's think about this for a little bit, okay?
Yes.
I said to my group Tuesday night, my breakthrough group, the void is pregnant. And what is anything when it's pregnant? It's full of possibility. I mean, if you're parents like me, you didn't even know if you were having a boy or a girl when you're actually pregnant. But so you sat with that possibility of one or the other. You also sat with your dreams for that child. But the point is you sat in the void of not knowing exactly what's next. And these days we have way too much information filling us constantly all the time in the form of, oh, you want to, help your lymph nodes drains, do these kinds of exercises, or, oh, you want to feel better about what you're doing with your life, to do this dream vision workshop or whatever. And I'm going to go the complete opposite and tell you, I think you need to sit in the void because it is pregnant with potential and possibilities for what you can do next. Now, I'm also going to tell you, it's uncomfortable sometimes. Voids don't necessarily mean they're 2 or 3 months at a time. I had a void Tuesday morning, and I could feel it coming on. I had zero thought or credibility or creativity, nothing. I was like flatline. If you had put my creative energy and thoughts on a heart monitor, I would be dead. There was nothing there. And I thought, well, what do I do with this? Because I didn't really want to go do domestic chores, which is my other option. So I went and sat in my chair and stared at the sky. I literally stared at the sky. And I did nothing. And I did nothing. And I squirmed. And I did nothing. And about 10 minutes into it, here comes the thought drifting in that ended up in this article. I literally published this article 2 hours after I sat in the void. And it's just, this is different than sitting with your soul, because you go to sit with your soul kind of in a prayerful attitude. You bring something to the conversation when you go to sit with your soul. Like there's something you want to manifest, there's something on your mind, you have a question. When you go into the void, there's nothing. You don't bring anything to it. It's more of a mode of receiving. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh, you've actually preempted a question I had fired up and lined up for later, but since you've brought that up now, this is such an important point. So we're framing this around retirement. We're framing this around the activity of work stops, and all of a sudden we're trapped almost in this thinking that we should. I know you wrote a couple of months ago a post about how the word should is a nasty word to have in our vocab. Yeah, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you did, and I felt this myself in early retirement when I felt I'd wake up, shower, shave, whatever, and then I think that I should be doing something. There's something I should be working on right now, rather than taking from the void. Now, here's something, Monica. Shifting from what should I be doing, this is tying in, to what is trying to emerge here. These are your words. Yes. Tell us about that.
Well, the example was what I did this week with the article that I published on Tuesday. I got to back up and tell you that the word void had been playing around in my head. It had been circling my mental space for a few weeks, but I didn't really get what it was meaning until I actually had to live it. Because when you choose, and you can do this, you can choose to go into the act of void, which really means that you're not bringing any specificity to the thought of sitting in meditation with whatever creative entity you choose to call it, universe, God. It literally makes no difference. But when you choose to sit there and you choose to recognize that you are striving to remove the work ethic that you built your career on. Now, there is something that feels like it's at cross purposes, but the work ethic that you had, that you lived for 40 years successfully, raised your family, had your career, whatever, that does not translate into retirement. It was a structure that doesn't need to exist anymore. So now you're sitting there in retirement, and to tell you the truth, there's a whole lot of people sitting with a lot of voids. They just don't know to call it a void. And further, they don't know how to make friends with the void, because it's in the void that discoveries about what you can do next, want to do next, you will get, if you do it right, you'll get memories of dreams that you had when you were a youngster. You may not want to bring the exact dream back, but you want to bring the essence of that dream back into your life. And then you can start exploring how you want to bring that back into your life. There's all kinds of things that can happen if you learn to intentionally say, ain't nothing happening, and I don't want to do any shouldas. I got rid of the shouldas. I'm going to sit and be quiet with the void. Because there's a void right here in my essence, in my energy. And the universe, guess what? The universe does not like voids. You want to test that out? Go empty a closet. I'm serious. Empty a closet, throw a bunch of stuff away that you don't want anymore, and see how fast the universe moves to put stuff back into that closet.
The universe abhors a vacuum.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking here about, or are we? No, I know the answer, but I'm rhetorically asking. So we're not suggesting here, you're not suggesting here, Monica, that we spend the rest of our years, however though many of those years are after retirement, navel gazing and doing nothing and taking no action and having no activity, are you? Because you're a very active person.
Actually, I'm not. Surprise, surprise. And let me help you understand what that really means. You learn to navigate and regulate your own energy in your retirement years. You learn to recognize what edifies your life and what is an energy vampire.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, an energy vampire for me is basically any kind of social activity that is basically polite chit chat, bores the bejabbers out of me. So I occasionally do it. I'm very picky and choosy about my social activity because of that, because I protect my energy because of this work I do on Substack. I want to be fully present when I work with Substack. So I'm coming back to your question. Yes, I do things, okay? You know, I go for walks, or a friend of mine has invited me, get this, to go play some golf. And I go once a year with him. So I'm not saying no activity. I'm saying be selective first about where you spend your energy, and that is a choice. And secondly, start paying attention to when your energy spikes. That's a soul word coming to you from your soul saying, we want more of this. Pay attention to when your energy tanks. Say, no, we're not going to have that. And then in between that is the void. Because when you're moving with your soul, you're moving with your energy, there's no energy leakage going on. It's compounding. You get momentum, you get more, and you get more and more active. Now, for me, that looks a little bit different than most folks, because I intentionally incubate. I incubated today. I turned down an opportunity to go sit outside and have pizza, A, because it's 100 degrees here today, and B, I knew I was doing this tonight. And I wanted to be fully present, and I didn't want to leak any energy out to something that was non-consequential. So I said, no, thank you. I'm going to stay inside. And I did. I incubated all day. I stayed very quiet, did no activities, so I could bring the full energy to this today. Now, what happens tomorrow and the next day? Everything, I recently wrote about this. There's like a rhythm that you start establishing in your retirement years. And everybody's is inherently different, and as the individual that they are, because your rhythm to get up might be 6 a.m. in the morning. Oh my God, don't do that to me, and you're ready to go and your feet hit the floor, and you've got things you want to do. And one of the things you want to do is go sit with the void, and you get some information and get an idea, and you start moving on it, and you go do something else. And then you crash by 3 o'clock. Now that's the tide went out. So you sit there at 3 o'clock and go, I'm not going to grind. I'm not going to push. I'm going to sit right here. When the tide goes out, it's a void. It's an emptiness. Don't fight that. Don't work through that. Don't grind through that. Give yourself a break and say, maybe put some earphones in and sit and listen to some music. Or if you're by a body of water, go sit and look at the birds flying over the body of water, or go get in the body of water. And it's not about not being productive. It's about choosing your productivity that edifies your life. Does that make sense?
I think also, absolutely. I think also, and by the way, we appreciate and thank our live viewers right now, Monica. And while you've been speaking, we've had some hearts firing up, and we appreciate the engagement. I would like just to have our viewers let us know that they're with us right now and engaging just by entering. Let me ask a question and answer a yes or no to those viewers who are with us. Are you able, you the viewer, are you able to take a nap in the middle of the afternoon and not feel guilty? A yes or a no? Just let us know. It's an engagement. We want to see some engagement from our viewers. A nap in the middle of the afternoon, yes or no? Do you nap? Do you nap during the day, Monica?
Oh God, yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. To me, it's like I have a second start to the day. I mean, about 1 o'clock, I put my head down and I'll nap till about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And whoop, that second pot of coffee happens and I kick back in. And to me, it's like having a second, a whole new morning in a 24-hour cycle.
We've got a few people here who are saying no. Some are saying yes, if my body is asking for a nap. I like that. And Diane says yes. Bonnie Bluewater says no. Levy says no. Jeff Field, I don't believe you. Why did I ask that question? Well, what came to mind is void and doing nothing, as opposed to fighting the idea that we should be in the moment. We should be busy right now. We should be doing, because that's what we've spent our whole working lives being and doing, whether working as an employee or self-employed. More so probably as a self-employed business person, right? Yeah, always busy, doing. And then whose scorecard are we keeping? Somebody else's, or maybe even our own.
But see, there's the thing. There's the question. Whose scorecard? I want to see how our watchers, our viewers, our audiences would answer that. Whose scorecard are you keeping? One that was handed to you for a 40-year career that you still measure how you live your days in your retirement years? Or are you using your own scorecard? Because at the top of my scorecard would be, oh, I had a nap today. I would be completely different. Yeah. You have to reframe how you think about some things in retirement versus the way you thought about them during your working career. And what I mean by reframing is, we'll talk about the nap thing again, okay?
Okay.
When I was working full time, There was no way I was going to stop and take a nap because I had a work ethic that said back here, I had this devil pushing me like, you got to get this deal, you got to get things done. And raising two kids and driving around like a chicken with her head cut off. Am I grateful I don't live like that anymore? Hell yeah. Do I wish somebody would talk to me like this back then? Oh, absolutely. Because here's what happens. You become like a gerbil on a wheel responding to all the shoulds. You completely miss the voids. And you know what happens when you miss the void? You miss yourself. There is no more delightful thing that you can experience in this world than an intimate relationship with yourself.
Let me ask, because do you mean self-ego self or self no, I thought you meant the primary self.
The original creation energy that lives within you. That self. And you don't know what you don't know about that self until you take the time to intentionally sit in the void and let it talk to you and make friends with it. Because my God, I have discovered stuff about myself in these last 5 years I didn't even know I thought about. And yeah. I mean, that's why this Substack exists.
You're getting lots of hearts on that comment, by the way. Can you see them as well, Mon? I think you can see the hearts when they come up. Can you?
Yeah.
So somebody, and by the way, Levy just reminds us that culturally, European siestas add to quality of life. Thank you, Levy. I hope I've got the pronunciation right. And when we're so busy as an employee, as a younger person in younger years, it's if we're driven, and probably most of us were or are, whatever, but especially self-employed, it's just go. Like you, the thought of I couldn't lay down and have a nap. Even when I was in my 50s, I couldn't do it in the afternoon and have a nap and not feel guilty about it.
Right.
Let alone,
oh my God. It's just like, yeah.
So the polar opposite of should is should not. I should not be laying down here having this nap. I should be up working, finishing, doing whatever. This can flow into our retirement years because there is no one holding a gate that shuts it and all of a sudden it disappears.
Right. You have to do some intentional thinking and choosing, and you have to make decisions that have nothing to do with anybody else but the relationship between you and yourself. Okay.
When you're painting, Monica, are you in the void when you're painting, doing your creative work with brush and oils? Are you in the void when you're painting or no?
No, that comes when I come out of the void. I will really. Right. The chair I'm sitting in is right about 2 feet from that easel. And no joke, it happened last night because you see that hunk of purple. You can't tell what that is, but that's going to be a big thing of grapes. And I was sitting there last night just staring out thinking, I don't like this painting. I don't know what this is supposed to be. And I was very frustrated with it. And all I saw coming across my mental screen was this big, I'm going to build a bunch of grapes hanging midair so that you feel like you want to, bite into them is the goal. I had no idea I was going to do that until I sat down and listened. Now, some people will call that the muse, but here's what I'm going to tell you what's a little bit different about that. You can't be, from my experience, the muse visits when the muse visits. If I sit and decide to be intentional and say, I'm going into the void, I'm going to stop. And going into the void is just like, okay, I'm done. No thought, no nothing. That makes room for the muse, the energy, the creativity, the thoughts to come into me to either write or to paint or make the next phone call. It can be, hey, call your daughter. I have had an experience where I've been sitting in the void and I heard Shannon needs help. She's had a car wreck. Literally. I got up, got to the phone. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on? She goes, how did you know? She threw a rod in her engine.
Wow.
Yeah. That kind of stuff happens to me all the time.
This is the sort of thing when something happens and exactly that, somebody pops into your head. This, shall we call it voice? Some of us literally hear a voice, like as in words. Some of us get that message from the void, not as words, but just a sense of a message. And so there's different ways to take from the void or receive, as you correctly put it, rather than taking as in it implies grabbing and clutching. No, receiving from the void, as opposed to when there's that sense like nothing's happening right now in my day. There should be something happening. I should be doing something. It's my responsibility to make something happen. Right?
That's the trap. That is the trap right there. That's the trap. That satisfies the ego. That gets you nowhere fast. I should be doing something because that's what you've known all of your life. The challenge now, this is kind of two-pronged, okay? To understand who's keeping score and how to sit in the void needs a foundation. You need to be able to trust what you hear. I told you the story about Shannon. I didn't think twice. I didn't debate about it. I just said, Shannon's in trouble, picking up the phone. I got to find out what's going on with her. She's in Texas. And she was kind of stunned, but then again, she should be, because that happens to me a lot. But you can develop a trust with your own inner being, your own inner voice. It is possible to do. I actually have a booklet that I've written about that, how to build believable trust with yourself. And I give away all the time.
Where can people find that?
Well, it's on Gumroad if you want to buy it. But if you become a paid subscriber to my stack, I just send you one for free.
Oh, that's good to know.
And tomorrow night, while we're talking about it, I'm going to do a live with a split screen and talk about how to use the booklet.
Oh, terrific. Listen, what's come to mind? Talk about listening and intuition, because that's real. Okay, we're talking about a process here. Let's talk about outcomes. In other words, in marketing speak, benefits and advantages and results. What's the payoff for going into the void, receiving from the emptiness or the void, rather than thinking we have to add to it? Is it a quality of life? Is it better relationships? What do we find changing in our retirement?
Check, all of it. For me personally, okay, let's get back to, this is the article I wrote, okay, that came out of me sitting in the void Tuesday. And I told you I wrote it, and within 2 hours, it was live on Substack. It secured 4 paid subscribers.
Oh,
yeah. Within an hour of it being published. Because it was I'm just a pipeline for information that goes to people who need it. That's how that works. But it would not have come to me had I not sat there. And this all started, this is funny, the whole thing from the scorecard thing, because I'm watching the 40 and 50-year-olds going to the various business offices around me in the courthouses, because I live in the middle of the government complex. So there's a lot of courthouses and city offices and whatnot. So all these young people are running around in their suits and their briefcases, and they're like this, gotta get there. And I thought, who's keeping score? You're walking under 200-year-old oaks and you're not noticing?
Yeah.
Who is keeping score on your life that you are so insistent of pushing so hard that you have not noticed those 200-year-old oak trees that you're walking under?
Scary thing?
Huh?
That used to be me. The scary thing, that used to be me.
Oh, me too.
We all like that. And that's probably why it's like a running faucet, constantly on flow. Then all of a sudden, we're retired, but this faucet keeps running. It's as if the faucet is still running. And we're talking about
for walking into your soul and saying to your ego and turning that faucet off and saying, this is about me and my soul. give your soul a nickname, invite it into your life, and let it be a very active part of you, because there are things that you were supposed to do when you were younger that you couldn't do because, life got in the way. And now your soul is knocking on the door saying, hey, we're here, we're ready, let's go. We got some things to do. And it will change how your retirement is experienced. 100%. 100%.
How much of this is related then, Monica, to identity and identity shifts? I mean, do we have the same identity in retirement as what we did when we were busy working with the faucet running, or do we need to consciously make this conscious decision that I'm no longer that identity? I'm a new identity in retirement. Retirement Future is the name of this podcast. The future is a different identity, and this is going to be me from here on.
I prefer to think of it as you becoming your real self, your authentic, sovereign self, not the self that lived by the manuscript that was handed to us on how to live a busy, happy, successful life. Now we have the opportunity to really explore who we really are, what we really think. And you'll be surprised how some of the basic things that you held as core values will start shifting and changing, because you have time to examine that. You have time to read other authors, listen to other podcasts, and find things that used to click when you were a younger person before you got busy. And then you put it all aside, and now you can bring it back forward. Does that change your identity? No, I think it makes you become who you really are. I think the false identity is the shoulda person.
Yeah. Monica, can I just ask another question of our viewers who are with us at the moment? Enter it into the chat window there. Just another bit of engagement for our viewers, Monica. Now, receiving from the void, a yes or no, for those who are willing to be honest and answer. Do you, the viewer, know how to receive from the void? A yes or no? Do you know how to listen to your intuition? A yes or no? It'd be helpful to know, Monica, just how many of our viewers.
You're going to get an answer. I don't think anybody wants to admit that.
It's a little bit, yeah. Well, I didn't. I apologise for raising a question that might make people feel uncomfortable answering that.
No. And I know Diane. Diane comes to Breakthrough all the time. And
oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Righto. Thank you, Diane and Levy. Yes, but it's a learning curve. It's thank you, Diane and Levy. It's look, you don't have to answer, but it's a question to think about anyway in privately to our viewers, Monica, because. Okay, for mine, I think it's a natural skill, but it needs to be developed further. It's an inherent trait that we have.
Yes.
But unless you flex it, it's not. You can't use it properly.
You've had it all your life. You just didn't know about it.
Yeah. And it's a whole topic, really, isn't it?
We could do another podcast just on how to do that. Absolutely.
I'd love to do that. I wonder if our viewers would be interested in that. I'd love to do that.
Judging by the hearts that are coming, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there's some more hearts. I think somebody or some people are into the idea of it.
Okay, so I guess we need to plan a podcast to talk about how to know how to receive. But I see, to me, knowing how to receive has a whole lot to do with whether you trust what you hear.
That's an important word, trust. Just pardon me, Monica and viewers. I'm referring to some notes I've got here, and I did note that. I just want to check what questions I had. I'm going to read them to you, and you pick the one you want to answer. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. Why does stillness feel so uncomfortable in retirement? Who or what is left when the work stops? That actually hooks into identity. And you mentioned, Monica, in your recent post about softening. You used that word softening into silence. Explain how that works for you, and you used an example of taking a hot bath as softening into the void, into the silence. So let's start with the first. Why does stillness feel so uncomfortable in retirement? I think we've kind of talked about it already.
Well, just think about it. Let's see who's over here. I'm trying to look for somebody I know over here that, you clocked in at work for 40 years and you may have been at the same job, or you made a job hop and gone to 3 or 4 different companies, but you clocked in and you have a clock inside your own head. You do this at 8, you do this at 9, you do this at 12, you do this at 3, and your body becomes the natural clock. Your body starts saying, okay, this is what we do at 8. This is what we do at 10. Repetition reaps rewards. The thing is we don't employ that as we retire. We think, no alarm clock. I don't got to get up. I don't got to do. But the body still wants to do what it was trained to do for 40 years. So the softening, the way I soften things is the hot soak. I soften the edges, and that's my way of saying to my body, we're going to slow down right now. We're not going to go into hyperdrive or grinding mode or push anything. We're going to stop, and we're going to slow down and take a beat and just let it be. The challenge is to learn how to sit in the void and hear only your inner being talking to you.
Yes.
And the challenge is to know when it's your ego or when it's your inner being. That's
so important, Monica. So important.
But if you train your body to get up at 8 o'clock every day, you can train your body to soften the self-talk that you're still living with, and start making decisions what you want to change.
Do you know what my equivalent of the soft bath is? What? Sitting out in the backyard and noticing the nature of things around me, the plants, the birds, the sky, the clouds, the noises, and not having any conscious maintained thought. Thoughts come and go, but I liked years ago a suggestion that
I'm going to stop right here. Purpose is not what this is about. Somebody just said purpose is important too, and I'm going to put some skid marks on this, because purpose brings in a behavior pattern from retirement that does not allow you to get involved with your soul. Purpose is a whole different thing. I don't need, nor do I want a purpose. My life is about living with my soul, and my soul drives the car, not me. I'm the passenger, and I fulfill it. But I do not design my life to have a purpose beyond having a relationship with my soul. I don't want a purpose. Oh God, no, I don't want a purpose. Because think about the word purpose for a minute. It is loaded with heavy, oh God, my purpose is this, and I just want to get that. Now you're pushing and grinding against the universe, as opposed to saying, I don't know. I'm going to go sit. And until I get this figured out and I learn how to hear my inner voice, and it's going to tell me which way to go next with all of this energy. Then that energy is released, and it moves, and it's fast, and it gets momentum, and wonderful things start happening because you're not grinding. You're not pushing against anything. Sorry, I don't mean to be so argumentative, but that word is really dangerous.
Yeah, look, we appreciate all comments, and Levy, thank you for the comment. And I don't think that's argumentative. I think you're just being who you are and speaking it how it is, and that's probably why you've got over 7,000.
Well, I've done too much research on it, and I've done way too much research on it. And purpose is actually what drives a heart attack.
Oh my good! Oh, I can speak from that. Yeah.
You want to get away from living purpose. Get away from living purpose and get into the intention of living with your soul, and the rest of it just works out.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's another topic too, because that is a podcast episode in itself, because there's different. Look, okay. we'll park that and come back to that. What's come to I was just saying that my hot bath equivalent of is just being out in the yard, and I feel connected to the nature that is around me. And I notice, first of all, I make a choice to be observant and notice, and then just receive. And I do get these thoughts and ideas and intuitive guiding. Now, something's come to mind. Not everybody in retirement. I don't know how it works in America. I've got an idea. You've got the 401 retirement fund thing, and here in Australia, you can retire and be broke and have no money. Okay, so you're still in retirement. You've still got bills to pay, food to buy, etc., rent to pay, etc., or mortgage, whatever it is. There's still relationships to be nurtured, and there's still the health to be looked after. So there's still activities to be, especially if you need money to pay bills.
Right.
How does going into the void work with those requirements of finances, health, relationships when in retirement?
What I have found out is, let me give you an example. I can better answer this with lived examples. When Heather and I were kind of knocking heads, that's my oldest daughter, and I couldn't really come to a resolution that didn't strip me of my sense of dignity, because she's a very dynamic personality. It's my eldest daughter, and she's right. I'm always wrong because I'm the stupid mama. And that's just the dynamic of it. And we were knocking heads, and I have come to a place where I'm not allowing that to happen to me anymore. So I went and sat. I didn't go sit. I didn't do the 4-4-6 breathing. I didn't do any preparation work. I didn't say, I want to talk about this to my soul. Remember, I call my soul Rosie. I didn't say, hey, I want to talk about Heather. I don't know what to do. I'll have that kind of conversation with my soul, just walking around and cleaning the kitchen. But when I go sit in the void, I just go, I give up. I surrender. And I stop everything. I just don't think. I don't do anything. Well, this happened about, I want to say 2 weeks ago, because we're planning this big family thing in September, and it just wasn't going well. And after I went and sat in the void, I want to say 15 minutes later, my other daughter calls. Now, this kid never calls. We text a lot, but she doesn't like to talk. And so I'm picking up the phone going, ooh, what's going on? That's Shannon. Hey, Mom, I have an idea of what I could do to get you Heather off your back. I didn't ask for that. She just called, and because she was seeing the text. I didn't say, Heather, Shannon, I want you to intervene. She just said, Mom, I can do this. And what she did is changed her entire travel itinerary from Texas up here to Virginia to come to my house instead of going to Heather's house. She said, Mom, me and Jake are going to come spend the night with you and stay with you for a few days. How you like that? I'm like, I would have never even asked for that. Okay. But I just went and sat and said, I surrender. I give up. I don't know what else to do about this. And here Shannon came up with the answer that didn't cost me a dime.
How wonderful. You can't get away from something. Intuition is a faculty of the mind. Okay. It can be scientifically studied, and there's been plenty of work done on it. But you can't get away from the fact that when you receive something also from the void through the intuition, we're entering into the realms of metaphysics and esoteric thinking and philosophies, and I'm okay with that. I think you are too, Monica, and I don't know about our viewers. This is something that we could also, if you're open to it, talk more about during that episode on intuition.
Sure, I'd love to. Always up for it. I mean, I live this 24/7.
Let's ask again for our final bit of engagement from our viewers. How interested are you to hear Monica discuss with me about the more esoteric side of intuition and the metaphysical and the mystical side of things, how to go into that silence, into the void, listen and receive and watch what happens. Don't create what you want to happen, but observe what happens.
Learn
Yes,
how to allow what happens. And that
allow what happens. Give it
allow
some
is a
heart.
big thing, because when you allow, then you put the shoulds to the curb. You kick the should in your life to the curb. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, bye. It's got to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Yeah, Pam, thank you. You're interested. Lovely, Pam. Pam Smallwood, thank you. Lovely to see. Well, you know what, Monica? Diane says, always want to learn more. That's wonderful. Bonnie, yes, is interested. Lovely. Well, we've got enough, two or more people together, and you've got an audience, right? And so that's that's what we've got for our upcoming episode on this very topic. We'll have some fun with that. We might even be able to quote our own experiences and help some people along the way. And if we can do that, Monica, isn't that what it's all about?
That is absolutely what it's all about. Look, if I can go from absolutely no money, lost my home, lost everything, COVID took whatever savings I had, to now running a Substack with 7,000 people, 335 of them are paid subscribers. And I'm now in conversations with people, with businesses who want to be sponsors on my Substack. If I can do that, and I had nobody here with me, there was no partner, there was nobody to talk to but me and my soul. If I can pull all of that out like a rabbit out of a hat, just imagine what you could be doing if you start employing the basic principles that I provided all the guidebooks on Gumroad.
Yeah, lovely. It's just terrific to see how that's come along and is coming along for you, Monica, and for those who follow you, subscribe to you, and get your books, your guides from Gumroad, or become a paying subscriber to you, and get all the
Or
other
if they
goodies
want
that
to
you're
learn
throwing.
how to go on camera and host their own lives, they need to talk to you.
Well,
You
thank
know,
you.
you do that very well, Mike. Mike is an
Thank you very much.
excellent interviewer, but he's also an excellent coach if you want to learn how to go on camera for your own Substack.
Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, I think this is, as I always say, time flies when you're having fun, and I think we're about to wind up. Monica, have you got some? I'm going to say my goodbyes now to all our viewers, and thank you so much for joining Monica Abear and myself on this episode of Retirement Future. And we've got some interesting topics coming up. We know we've got some interest from you, the viewers, so we're looking forward to that. Monica, let's sign off with your parting words, and then I'll close off the podcast.
If you're new to beginning to learn to rethink retirement for yourself, I strongly urge you to get the little guidebook, Building Trust in Yourself, which is a step-by-step method on how to learn to listen to your inner voice, because that is really key to what you're going to be doing with the rest of your retirement years. And if you're like me, I think I probably have another 20 years left. And here's the key to that. I'm very eager to keep on keeping on. And that changes the chemistry in your body. And if you want to get into that level of excitement about living the last 20 years, or this fourth act of a 4-act play, then a good place to start is learning how to trust your own inner guidance. And then we can take it from steps from there. If nothing else gets in the way, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm going to go live myself in a split screen with pages from the guide on the screen and talk about the various steps to do it. So you might want to get one and then come join the live. I am not promoting it. You just happened to hear about it tonight, because I kind of do things on a whim. Actually, I do it when the spirit moves me. That's just the truth. That's the way it happens. 35 folks here tonight. Thank you for spending some time with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Mike and I love bringing these to you, and hope we can help you expand your expectations for your retirement years. Because you know what? We don't retire. We rewire how we think about retirement. Later, Gator.